Hi, welcome to my workshop. My name's Darren. A little while ago, I was looking at a way to accurately make angled cuts in small pieces of stock. The sort of thing that was a little bit too fiddly to do on the miter saw. I came up with a couple of different ideas using magnets to hold the saw in place, but they're all bulky, none of them are particularly elegant, and I just wasn't happy with the overall process. I did a bit of research on the internet and I found that exactly what I was after had already been built. This is the Zetsaw S265 Universal Saw Guide, and it's pretty good. I'll show you what it can do. Now, the Zetsaw Saw Guide is a fairly compact unit considering everything it can do, and it's quite simple to use. Around the front here, you can probably see we've got two metal plates, and the saw itself slides up between those two plates. Hang on, I'm watching the camera and doing this. There we go. And that's what guides the saw rather than using magnets. It's good, actually. I think it works better than the magnets because you can't, I was going to show you what was in there, but you actually can't do it. You can't twist a little bit with it coming off the magnets in any direction. It's pretty well held parallel to that disc. Now the disc itself, you can see, has this knob on the front, and that allows you to lower or raise the disc. Raising the disc up and down raises the saw cut up and down. Around the back of the disc, you can see we've got a little keeper spot for an Allen key. That's really handy because this is how you adjust everything, is with your Allen key. There's several adjustments on this fella. There's a locking screw here, and when undone, that allows us to tilt up to 45 degrees in either direction. And there is a marking for 45 degrees. You can see, and there's a marking at 90. If you line those up, that's nice and accurate. Of course, you could always double check with a square if you wanted to. These are the bevel adjustment screws, and they allow us to adjust it 90 degrees vertical or 45 degrees in either direction and everything in between. So let's just loosen that one off so I can show you that. It's all marked as well. We've got 90 degrees and 90 degrees written there. And we've got everything, larger degrees going down to 45 this way, and larger degrees going down to 45 that way. So if we want to come towards us and say do a 60 degree, we've got one right there ready to go. There's a 60 degree mark. We can come towards us, and we're going to cut our 60 degree bevel. Take that up to 90. Always good at this point to check it with a square, but I'm just showing you here. And there we go, and that allows us to go up to 45 degrees in the opposite direction. There's a little removable handle that makes it easier to hold, and if you're doing multiple cuts and you don't want to use clamps, that's ideal. The unit comes with a little protractor for setting it in the first place. For cross cuts, we have this little fence here. There are two pins for alignment and a screw in the middle to hold it in place, and it can fit on either side of the base plate depending on which way we're working, and it just screws into place like so. That keeps your work at 90 degrees to this base, so as then all these other angles obviously are accurate from that point onwards. And that allows us to bring that up against our piece of timber for a nice square cut. For parallel cuts, or if you like, if you want to do a rip cut, we have a different fence that fits on underneath. It goes at the back here. Again, there are two pins for alignment for keeping it square to the base, and a screw for holding it in position. And we just screw it onto the back, like so. We can just pop that on our timber, and we could make a nice long rip cut with it if need be. Alright, so that's all the adjustments really. Of course you can use it in combination. Let's actually have a look at it doing some cuts. Okay, now for the sake of testing, let's assume that this is a piece of moulding and I need to cut the angle on the end to an angle different from 45 degrees because the other piece is wrong or it's fitting around a corner that doesn't quite add up to 90 degrees. Whatever, we're going to compensate by cutting this to an angle that's not quite 45 degrees. let's say it's 50 degrees. Nice and easy. Okay, so what we're going to do, we're going to grab our protractor that comes with the unit. I've already set it for 50 degrees. You can see here they've not put 0 on the ends of the degree numbers. I assume that's to save space. 180, they've got 18. 170, 160, you get the idea. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. All right, so we've got 50 set over on this side. You can see they've got little marks for 45 as well. So that's the angle we're going to cut, is our 50 degrees. I've already set the bevel angle to 90, so there's no bevel. So we're going to take our protractor and our little Zetsaw there, and we're going to set that so they line up nicely. Looking good. I'm going to tighten that screw up behind there. And just double check I haven't slipped out. That's looking good. You can see on the back I've tightened this screw up and we're just off 45. See, just past the 45 there, we've got 50 degrees happening. Going to attach my little fence to the underside. If you wanted to, you could add a clamp as well. Oh, actually, I like the idea of a clamp here. All right, so now we just need to adjust this up so we can get the saw in and get that to the right height. There we go. And that's it, really. Now it's a Japanese style saw. Well, it is Japanese, so it comes from Japan. And that's it. Now, as you can see, we've done a beautiful clean cut. Don't know if you can, it's a bit difficult to see that there, but we haven't drifted off as we've cut. Our blade hasn't tilted because that is at 90 degrees that way. But more importantly, do we have our 50 degrees this way? And we do, and that is spot on. Look at that. That's perfect. Ah, excellent. So that's a miter cut. Now, as mentioned, it can do bevel cuts as well. Let's get ourselves a bigger piece of timber this time, and we'll do ourselves a bevel cut. So to do a bevel cut, as mentioned earlier, we adjust these ones. Now I want to tilt back this way. We're going to undo this one, and we're going to tilt in like so. Oops. Now, of course, you wouldn't have to make all your cuts in the vise. You could do them on the workbench as well, as long as you've got them held in place. Vise is just convenient for me at the moment. Alrighty. So popping our saw in. Now, this is one of those moments when it's worth dropping down the height of our front disc here, so as we can get our saw closer to our work. There we are. So I'm just going to tighten that up there. That's held in place. I'm going to use the clamp again. I found that worked well last time. If you're doing a lot of these and get a lot of repetitive cuts happening, it might be quicker not to use a clamp, but here we go. So now we're just going to give this a nice bevel. There we are. One very nice bevel cut. Now the saw that comes with it is a Japanese Kataba. You can see here it's obviously got a replaceable blade, which is handy because obviously you want to make sure whatever you use is going to fit in here. So while this Kataba is ideal, a Dazuki would not be because of the spine on the back of it. It wouldn't fit in there. Could you replace this with another Kataba? Perhaps, but you would want to make sure it was the same thickness on the blade. Other than that, I think you could. But I should imagine this one's going to stay nice and sharp for many years. It's a great little saw. That was a very quick look at the Zetsaw Saw Guide. But I think that's all we need to show you how it works and what it can do and how versatile it is. So who would want one? Well, for a start, if you don't have a traditional miter saw, then something like this could be handy. You can get other sorts of manual miter saws that look like a large frame with what looks like a hacksaw. It's not a hacksaw, suspended in it. Maybe that's for you, but that will pack into a smaller space and is a lot more portable if you need to take it with you. Other people that might use something like this, people like myself who want to do unusual cuts or unusual angles on smaller pieces of timber, very handy for that. Or if you're a hand tool only person, well then this is a hand tool solution. Pros and cons. I'll start with the cons because I can only think of one. Being a Japanese tool and effectively having ordered it from Japan, guess what language the instructions were in? That's right, Portuguese. No, I'm kidding, Japanese. That said, as you've seen, you look at a few pictures, it's pretty easy to figure out pretty quickly, which is what I did. And yeah, it works fine. You really don't need the instructions to be in your language. Thank goodness. Now on to the pros. Now it may look like it's built out of sheet metal, and indeed some of the pieces are in fact folded like you would a sheet metal kind of thing, but it's well made. It's accurate. It's got a decent weight to it. It's not flimsy at all. It's very solid. It's very accurate, which is obviously something we need, is the accuracy. Comes with the saw you need. It's a good saw. The handle's plastic, but you know, it's doing the job. Comes with your fences, the parallel and cross cuts, and a very handy little protractor, which I'm sure is going to come in handy for other things besides just using the saw. Overall, I'm very happy with it, and I would definitely recommend it to anybody that's looking for something to help them do accurate angled cuts. Thanks for watching, have a great day, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye for now.